Hi, I'm Obi the All-Seeing Camera, and we back to the channel with another one. Today we're here to talk about day one of the Meg Thee Stallion versus Tory Lanez case. Shout out to Black T Blog because they made it easy for us to just react for day one, and we actually have it right here. So we're gonna see what's popping, what happened, opening statements, and then we'll share our thoughts at the end. You guys can feel open again. You guys know in this channel, I'm always open to hear both sides. So don't feel like you gotta agree with me. If you don't, let me know down below. Maybe you have a good point. So, going into this, was you Team Hottie, was you Team Tory Lanez, or was you Team The Truth? I was kind of Team The Truth. I don't want to say I was Tory Lanez biased, even though he is one of my favorite artists of all time. But when I was just hearing the evidence, the shit just didn't add up. Like, if it was blatant that he did it, and I'm like, out of like, damn, nah, homie's in the wrong. You did it to yourself, like Plexico Burrs. But it just never made sense. Like, from the jump, it had just never made sense. Let's go into day one and see what happened.
Opening statements are still actually going. We had to pause midway through for lunch. Better than TV. If you watch the prosecution's opening statement, you would say guilty. If you then watch the defense's opening statement, you would say, what the hell is the prosecution thinking, charging him? Basically, the prosecution started with this story. They said that, hey, they're all at the party, and Tory is leaving the party with Meg. They're in the car. An argument breaks out, during which Meg says and insults his skills as a rap artist. This leads...
Which that's insane. That's how you know hip-hop is dead. You gonna insult hot girl shit, really gonna insult Tory Lanez, one of the greatest musicians ever. And one of my theories I love telling you guys is he might not be the best discography to some of you guys, but talent-wise, he's better than your favorite artist. And a lot of you may say, what? No. You're gonna have to bring up people like Cole and them that even hold water with Tory Lanez. Bro, the thing about Tory is that Tory sings amazing. Tory's rap skills is amazing. You guys saw what happened to your man Joyner Lucas when he tried to talk out of pocket and Don Q. Style, delivery, flow, everything. Tory Lanez is an amazing artist. Even beat picks, there's like really no bad Tory Lanez beats. Like the kid is great. Again, when you gotta talk about discography and music, it's all personal opinion.
It's to a situation where she gets out of the car and he shoots at her feet and yells dance, and then she ends up at a
Yo, any of you guys ever watched Harlem Nights or Eddie Murphy back in the day? Or am I aging myself again? But that's literally, every time I hear that, that's exactly what it reminds me of, that scene in Harlem Nights.
Shoot, quick, go ahead, take your best shot.
hospital, and a doctor takes out 3 fragments of bullet wounds from her foot.
That they lost. How do you lose that?
Now, if you just, and the prosecution says that Kelsey, the other woman in the car, is going to testify that Tory shot Meg. And Kelsey has a text message where she texts somebody that, hey, Tory shot Meg. And then the rest of the prosecution's case is based on all these calls and texts where Tory's like, oh, I'm so sorry, oh, I'm so drunk. He never says that I shot him. He's like, oh, I'm just so sorry, I'm so drunk. So question what he's apologizing for. So that's the prosecution's case. Seems pretty easy. Then,
and Tory explained, I was apologizing because I was trying to sleep with Kylie Jenner while I had 2 girls in the room that I was also sleeping.
And the defense comes up, and man, it gets spicy. First, the defense
Wake
goes,
up the next day, your man's like, yo,
they're
you
not
was
telling
bugging.
you about
You was bugging. That's one of the worst things to
hear. The most
hear.
important thing they're not telling you about, they're not telling you about an eyewitness who saw 2 women fighting, Kelsey and Meg. And
prosecutors, again, that's their job, is why they're the prosecutor, but they're definitely biased on their evidence, and we'll see that throughout the days.
And so let's talk about why them 2 are fighting. Let's talk about how she was in the front seat. The gun was caught in the front seat. Let's talk about how she might have gunpowder. She does have gunpowder. Let's talk about how this has nothing to do with the fight between Tory and Meg and everything to do with the fight between Meg and Kelsey.
We kind of heard the reasoning as to why Kelsey Harris has the gunshot residue on her hands, and that came up in a preliminary hearing earlier on in this case, and it makes sense. If Kelsey as well as Tory Lanez are in a small confined area, like an SUV, and one of them shoots a gun, that residue doesn't have far to go, and it can land on the person's hands who shot the gun, but also any innocent person who's in the car as well.
And then the defense...
That does make sense. Okay. Because remember, they all had residue. They all had residue, but DNA of all of them was not found on the weapon.
It's dropping the bombs. He basically says this, that they're in the car. Yeah, they left. But do you know why they left? They left because Kylie and Tory were in the pool together. And Kelsey and Meg both felt some type of way about that, to the point that Meg felt really some type of way about that. And she was really trying to go, to the point that eventually, because of how Meg is acting, this is according to the defense, Kylie Jenner goes to Meg Thee Stallion and says, it's time for you to leave. They all leave.
And I picture that on like the whitest voice. It's time for you guys to go. Like, it's time to pack and go. I'm telling you, I can already see it. Like, how you getting jealous? But this shit is all crazy because that's the side that they're pushing too. Like, Shorty was jealous that he was chilling with with Kylie. But at the end of the day, Kelsey was jealous because that was also who she was banging with. She still didn't really know that Meg was sleeping with him too. Like, it was just crazy. There was choach flying everywhere.
The defense's point is what happens in the car is this. Tory questions Kelsey. Hey, Kelsey, why are you backing up Meg for me trying to, get it on with Kylie Jenner? Meg has been snaking men from you your whole life. I hooked up with you, Kelsey, and then Meg went behind your back and hooked up with me. And, Kelsey, this is not the first time. You had been hooking up with Ben Simmons. Meg went behind your back and hooked up with Ben Simmons. You had been hooking up with DaBaby. Meg went behind your back and hooked up with DaBaby. And so the defense starts...
So the thing of, yeah, that's crazy. The shit about that evidence is that you're the one screwed at home, like Chris Paul with Kanye. You just laying with your drone, watching Netflix. Your Ben Simmons chilling at home. Internet, phone starts going crazy. What is this? You slept with what? Ben Simmons and Meg Thee Stallion. What? They're lying. They've been lying throughout this entire case. You're gonna believe that one piece of evidence? I feel bad for them, the niggas at the crib with their feet up, and they get smacked in the back of their head while they playing 2K with their boys. Like, what was that for? What happened? Damn, Ben, I need to hear that. Where was you when this story broke?
Dropping all these grenades. The crowd is captivated. The jury's like, oh, what's going on? And there's every reason to believe that there could have been a fight here, not between Tory and Meg, but between Meg and Kelsey. And the shooting could have not been Tory. It could have been done by any one of the other people in that car. What does all of this mean? Well, I'll tell you a couple things. First, Corey Gamble, Kris Jenner's husband, is going to testify, so this will continue to be must-see TV. Two, the judge is terrific. I expect a very fair trial. The lawyers on the defense side are terrific. I don't know what the government lawyer was doing, giving an opening presentation that made it seem like the most open and shut case ever, when in fact there are huge questions, including an eyewitness who saw two women fighting, suggesting that you have to explain that theory to the jury, and you didn't. So I don't love the prosecution's opening in that regard. Stay tuned. We'll have the full coverage here. It's up and it's stuck in the Tory Lanez trial. All right, we're back with the rest of the update in Tory Lanez. So we are taking our afternoon break. There's going to be more testimony at the end of the day. But right now, let me catch you up on what's happened since lunch. The defense continued and concluded their opening statement. They confirmed that their theory of the case is going to be that Kelsey was the shooter. Tory was just trying to break up the fight.
That's what I said from day one. And that, again, have you guys heard the Daystar album? Like, did anyone here listen to that album? Or was you guys one of them people that boycott? Made no sense, so you boycotted the other side of the story? I heard both. I've watched Meg Thee Stallion's live. That's when at first I was kind of like, damn, Tory. And then when she started going on live, I was like,
Then the prosecution went up. They put on a police officer as their first witness. This is the police officer who arrived at the scene of the shooting. He testified about how he saw gun casings, blood spatter. This was a big mistake, in my opinion, because the defense attorney ended up tearing this police officer's testimony to shreds. He basically got the officer to admit that they did not use the proper evidence markers to mark and identify the location of every piece of evidence. So the police cannot tell you where blood was found exactly in relation to the gun casings, where, based on the trail of blood, the victim would have walked around. They can't tell and paint the whole story of what happened when the person got out of the car. Why, if you can't paint that story, why, if you didn't use the evidence markers, why, if you purportedly have a very simple case, did you waste your time making your first witness a police officer whose testimony is going to get torn to shreds by the defense attorney? Big mistake, in my opinion, if you ask me. From here going forward, the defense will always be able to point out that the government's investigation is completely incapable of telling the jury about the movement of the victim outside of the car. So if you're trying to inject reasonable doubt, alternative theories, you've now done a great job setting it up that the government's story has holes in it. All right, we wrapped up the first day of Tory Lanez trial test.
Don't have markers. So it's like, I agree with them. Why share that? Because now you put a hole in your case. Now you have something that they're going to keep attacking and keep reminding the jury. They really don't know if she shot her, because they don't know if the casing was near where Kelsey was sitting and got out the car, and Meg just started running around back and forth, and that's why there was blood everywhere, because she stepped on glass, she told us. Also, there was broken glass when the cops got to the scene. Meg had no shoes on. Let's remember, she was also fighting. What could happen? You're fighting, you're swinging everywhere, you step on glass. You step on glass, two friends that are drunk and realize, yo, we're bugging out. There's blood everywhere.
Testimony.
Now, for the shell casings, also, you know what else could have happened? Somebody just boom, 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 And then that's how the fight happened, like between Kelsey or Tory Lanez trying to stop everybody. But if he would have boom, his DNA still would have been on it. That's the thing.
Let me tell you what happened at the end of the day. This will be a two-parter. On this first part, let's cover what prosecutors believe is their key piece of evidence after the testimony they expect to get from Meg and the other woman who was in the car. So here's the prosecutor's point, that there's a jailhouse phone call reminder to everyone: when you get arrested and you're sitting in jail, they are listening, they are recording. What you say on that phone will be used against you. According to prosecutors, Tory calls the other woman who was in the car, Kelsey, and basically admits to shooting and apologizes profusely to her. The problem with that theory, according to the defense, is that, well, he never says he shot her. He's just apologizing profusely, and he could be apologizing for a lot of things. According to the defense, the apology is for basically blowing up Kelsey's spot and revealing that he had been in a relationship with both of them. What side will the jury believe?
And that's what he said on Daystar. Remember, that's what he was apologizing. He never apologized for shooting on one. He apologized for being crazy and sleeping with both women and then blowing it up the way he did.
It's way too
Which he was still wrong for that. Like, yo, you were bugging out.
early in the evidence. That call on its own means nothing. In fact, the evidence that was presented was through a detective. They asked that detective, hey, when did you listen to this jailhouse call? What can you tell us about it? He basically said, yo, I heard it last week. They asked me to go retrieve it from the system. I retrieved it. I'm playing it here for y'all today. What does it mean? What does he mean? What's he talking about? I don't know that from that, so I couldn't really tell you, and he can't. And the jury is going to be looking at the rest of this evidence to really decide that, hey man, when this guy's calling Kelsey and saying, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to, what's he talking about?
The big question is Kylie Jenner going to testify? There's a lot of speculation about that. Look, Tory and Megan came from her party. They were Instagramming videos with her. The defense said Tory wanted to stay at her house. And the defense also says that Kylie asked Megan.
Remember, Kylie also, I guess that's what happens when you're rich. OBJ was there. There was also other people at this party, and they all had bedrooms. So that's why Tory wanted to stay there. It's not like he was going to stay sleeping with Kylie Jenner herself. She just had a bedroom for all of them to stay in that night. Supposedly, Meg was the only one that was asked to leave.
To leave at one point, but there is no indication that Kylie was subpoenaed. And the alleged shooting, of course, happened after this group left her house. The defense also says that Corey Gamble will be testifying. He's, of course, Kris Jenner's longtime partner. He was also at that party.
Kelsey Harris will absolutely testify and take the stand, but the major question in this case is what's going to happen on cross-examination when the defense starts asking questions of Kelsey? Are they going to be able to create some form of reasonable doubt to suggest that she's the shooter and she's merely covering for herself and Megan and pointing the finger at Tory Lanez?
So the defense attorney for Tory Lanez is saying that over the course of the next couple days, we're going to prove to you at trial that they were at a party, that in the pool was Tory and Kylie, and that Megan Thee Stallion started feeling some type of way and got in her feelings about it. That they tried to get Megan to leave, but she said, I'm not leaving until I get Tory with me. That I'm taking my man and I'm going. That's what the defense attorney is.
Which is crazy because she was clock blocking to an ultra because the baby, a lot of men that we were just named. So it's like, why are you hating so much? I hate that shit. Like, why are you hating so much of my man's success?
Trying to set up. The defense attorney said that it got to a
you would have
point
never been
where
that
Megan Thee
jealous
Stallion was
because if you
making
went
things
home, all
so
this would never
awkward that Kylie Jenner went up to her and said, it's time for you to leave. And that's when she left, and Tory,
left with her,
being a gentleman, left with her, didn't stay in the pool with Kylie, and then they all leave, and then the mayhem ensues. But this little piece, I think, is very interesting to the masses.
Did you have an intimate relationship with him?
Like sexual?
Yeah. Did you, Megan? Did you have a sexual relationship with Tory Lanez? Yes, that's my question.
I didn't have a sexual relationship with Tory.
And y'all really got the nerves to say we hate women, right? No, you hate the truth. That's the truth. You hate the truth. The truth. What do you mean? She's been lying nonstop. This is only day one. I did not have sex with him. She also said that in court that she did not have. No, in court, I apologize. She said that in the interview, right? She said that a lot of times previously in her own things that she wasn't sleeping with Tory Lanez. Lies. Because in court, when they asked her, yes, she had a sexual thing with Tory Lanez. And that's why she was super jealous. And with that, we end day one. Check back in with us with day two. We will go over that right after this. Let me know what you guys think about all this. So far, what are you thinking? What side? And this was the prosecutor's day after day one. So this is like the day that they're supposed to, I still be like, no, innocent, pay your rent in Miami because you're not leaving. Pay your rent in Miami, Tory, because you're not going home. Subscribe to the channel, comment down below. If you have any questions, make sure you hit me up on Instagram, which is always in the description to these videos. And if you're a fan of my music content that I do as in concerts, I do upload a lot of exclusive images to Instagram that I don't post here, so go check those out. We're also doing a giveaway at 4,000 subs, so sub up, sub up, sub up. And like I love to say, until the next one, we out here. So far, let me know down below. What are you thinking about day one? What are you thinking about day one? Let me know down below. That's your assignment. Let me know down below.